School can't teach you everything. I was in different art schools for about 12 years. It's the same amount of time doctors learn how to save a life in, and I spent that much time in art school. So while I learned a lot of things in school, here's a list of 5 things that school wasn't able to teach me that I've now learned out there being a professional. Hello and welcome to Blind Point of View. My name's Ishan. I'm a musician and an artist. And before I went to music school, I went to the Srishti School of Art, Design and Technology. And while I didn't go to a theater or dance school, I'm pretty sure everything I'm covering in this video applies to all art schools. Schools, by virtue of catering to so many people, have to cover a lot of ground within a subjective field like art. I went to 3 schools: the Srishti School of Art, Design and Technology, where I dropped out from in my 3rd year, the Global Music Institute, which I completed for over 3.5 years, and the Eastman School of Music, where I got my bachelor's in jazz performance from. And while I learned a lot of things at these schools, there's a bunch of stuff that I didn't learn. So if you're in art school or someone who's thinking of going to art school, or maybe you just graduated like me, here's a list of 5 things that school didn't teach me. Lesson number 1, learning how to fail. As crazy as this sounds, failure is an important part of any artistic journey, and schools don't really teach you how to fail. School can fail you. You can fail a class or get a bad grade, and in Eastman, if you failed your jury twice, you actually got kicked out. So while schools penalize you to fail, failure is mostly used as a disciplinary tool. They try to tell you if you're failing, you're doing something wrong. But what I found was that if you're failing, you're actually on the right path, because every journey is sprinkled with some amount of failure. If we all would just succeed out of the box from school, I mean, life would be very different. And riding the lows and learning how to fail gracefully and using it as a stepping stone is a skill, and it's something that you need to be emotionally and mentally prepared for. And what I mean by failure being a stepping stone is that you can go out, do something, fail at it, and look at that as the end, or you can look at that as a place of learning and an inflection point to make the next thing better. To give you a real world example, this YouTube channel right now is my 3rd attempt at getting onto YouTube. And the first 2 times I failed pretty magnificently, and I could have stopped and just never tried again. But here I am trying for the 3rd time. And I do think it's going better than the first 2 times. So yeah. And if you're afraid of failure, in a way, that's a good signal. It means you're trying to do something that you don't know how to auto-succeed at. And it means it's something new and you're covering fresh ground. And that's exciting. And that's something that you should embrace. If you're in school or you're just getting out of school and you're maybe 22, 23, 24, no one knows what the right thing to do at 22 or 24 is. You just have to go out and take the risk. And inevitably, on the number of swings you take, some of them will miss. And you just have to go out there and do the thing. Which brings me to lesson number 2. Don't wait for perfect. Perfect is the enemy of good. I see a lot of people trying to get their product or art or whatever you want to call it to the extreme edge of perfection. You sit there in a closed off silo, just trying to make the thing better and better and better. But the truth is, there is one really important thing that you need to make something better, and that's external feedback. And there's a whole part of the process that happens after you put something out, where you get all of this external feedback and how things are received. And that never happens if you don't put things out. Again, to give you another example from my own life, it took me 10 years of procrastination, perfection procrastination, to put my first ever EP out. I could have and should have put this EP out many years ago, because at the end of the day, even after 10 years, we still use the demos from 8 years ago, did not change next to anything musically, just recorded it in a nicer studio than we had the demos and mixed it better and put it out. So the music was ready back then. It was just my own fear of failing that stopped me from putting this stuff out. Things I learned from making and putting out that EP were things I could have never learned from any YouTube video or teacher or anything else. It was part of the process. That learning came with it. And whether it succeeds or fails, does well, does poorly, it teaches you something that you can use to make the next thing better. And that's why you just have to start doing the thing. There's a time to hone your craft, and then there's a part of honing your craft that is based on putting the thing out. And it's really important to participate in the act of putting your art out and putting yourself there out. Which brings me to lesson number 3. There will always be people who don't like what you do. There are 8 billion people on this planet, and thankfully we have diversity of tastes. So while there will be some people who love your stuff, there will be people who dislike your stuff. Just like you dislike a bunch of stuff and you like a bunch of stuff. We all have our individual tastes. I'm not trying to say this from the lens of like, oh, you put something out and no one likes it, so you don't tweak anything and you keep going. That is a strong signal too. But the point I'm trying to make here is that if you let too much of your self-worth and self-esteem get attached to the work you're putting out, people not liking your stuff will hurt you in so many ways. And it's really important to put some distance between your artistic output and your self-worth and identity once the thing is out in the world, because none of us can control what happens to our art once it hits the audience. This kind of goes on the other side too. If something does really well, it takes a lot of effort and courage to not let that feed your ego and let it inflate, because both, whether your work does poorly or your work does well, if you let that affect you, it can harm your artistic output for the next time. So keep a healthy distance between you and your artistic output when you put something out, and be okay with some people disliking your stuff, because it's bound to happen. It's important then, when you put stuff out, to have a community of people who can keep you honest. Which brings me to lesson number 4. Your friends that you make in art school are the single most important thing you'll do. This might seem a little hyperbolic, but whether you want to look at it from a networking point of view or a community point of view, your peers, your friends, your future colleagues, these are the people who can be and will be your guiding compass, your artistic GPS when you go out in the world to do stuff. To give you another example from my life, I had a friend and we were discussing while we were on tour how we're trying to make our ends meet, because we all set out to be performers and music performers, but it's a rough business. And they told me something really insightful. They said they've been able to enjoy their side hustles because while it isn't necessarily related to performing music, it's still part of the things that my friend loved doing. And having side hustles or just things that pay rent and put food on your table that you also enjoy can be part of your life. And this seems obvious and could be career advice you could get anywhere, but the fact that it came from a friend that I trusted and really respected meant a lot. And this translates to your work as well. If you have good friends and peers, they'll be able to tell you when something you put out is actually good, or something needs more work or needs to cook a little bit more. And it's a really good guiding compass that cannot be overlooked. It's really easy, at least in music school, to get into a competitive mindset. But in my opinion, community always beats competition. And sometimes when you're in a binary mindset of like winners and losers, those people, when they go out into the chaos of the real world, find it hard because the real world isn't as black and white. You don't win a competition all the time. And honestly, you get to decide what competition really means in the real world for yourself. Which brings me to the final lesson, which is you get to decide. We're often told in school, this is what you need to pass, or this is what success looks like. But the truth is, you get to be the judge of your own metrics. Every class is not equal. Every opportunity is not the same. Every metric of success or views or likes or followers or listens or money doesn't have to be your metric of success. You can write your own metrics of success and do whatever you want with that. To give you an example from the music world again, the Grammys just happened, and while winning a Grammy can be looked at as a stereotypical metric of success, almost none of my musical idols have a Grammy. There are 2, Stevie Wonder and Herbie Hancock, but the rest don't have Grammys, like at least all the people I actually really look up to. And none of those people in my book are, I'm pretty sure in their own book too, are failures. Because you get to decide your metrics of success. And The deeper part of that also means you get to be the owner of your time, especially when you're in school. Whatever your artistic goal and vision is, your time is your most valuable resource, and how you choose to spend it to create that artistic reality for yourself is really important. Because while metrics of success are based on external reality, your internal truth has to be your guiding compass. And whatever the external reality or metric of success might be, the truth of the matter is no one's going to die if you play a wrong note. No one's going to get harmed if you make bad looking painting or a bad movie. At the end of the day, it's just art, or it's art. And both of those are point of views you'll have to take in your life at some point. We all got into art because we enjoy it, and protecting that joy is really important. And having your own metrics of success can let you have a way more healthy relationship with your art. Drop a comment with a lesson that you think I missed, or one of the lessons you liked, or if you disagree with something or you agree with something. Until the next point of view, peace.